Good afternoon. I am meteorologist Cassandra Moore with the Tropical Analysis and Forecast Branch at the National Hurricane Center, and this is your Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing for Sunday, January 14th through Friday, January 19th. To summarize our current warnings, we have a gale warning in the eastern Atlantic due to an occluded low pressure system from north of 28 north between 36 west and 40 west. These gale force winds are expected to diminish this afternoon. However, this is also generating a large area of rough to very rough northwest swell, with the highest seas peaking at 18 to 20 feet within the gale force winds, and you'll see in the forecast that this is expected to continue through the early part of this week. So here is a look at the surface analysis from this morning. Here we can see the gale southwest of the occluded low pressure system in the eastern Atlantic. And behind the cold front here is where you'll find the area of rough to very rough seas generated by those gale force winds. And then to the west, we have a weakening cold front with a stationary front lingering on the tail end of that boundary. And this stationary front plans on lifting north over the Gulf of Mexico as it dissipates ahead of the next front, which we can already see approaching the northwest Gulf. Here is the wind and waves forecast for tomorrow morning. You can see the occluded low as well as the cold front are continuing eastward and weakening. Peak seas are now 14 feet. Farther west, you can see that the stationary front that was over the southern Gulf is lifting north and weakening, and we can see the new boundary stretched across the northern Gulf, meeting up with a low that is over northern Mexico. I do want to point out we are expecting a tight temperature gradient behind this front with temperatures in the 30s just offshore southeast Texas. And we're expecting winds to increase to strong behind the boundary as it slowly dips into the Gulf. Also of note, in the Caribbean Sea, winds have increased to fresh to strong, supporting seas up to 10 feet. By Tuesday morning, we are expecting possible gale warning in the western Gulf of Mexico due to this cold front extending from a low that has formed in the central Gulf. Behind the front, we will expect strong to near gale force to gale force winds, and this front is expected to move across the Gulf of Mexico Tuesday into Wednesday. In the Caribbean Sea, we can see that the prevailing trades have generated a larger area of 10-foot seas, and elsewhere in the Atlantic, things have calmed down. The 72-hour forecast for Wednesday morning, you can see the cold front stretching from the southwest Atlantic to the southern Gulf. You can see there's still an area of fresh to strong winds in the extreme southwest Gulf and still an area of seas up to 12 feet. And in the Atlantic ahead of the front, we could see winds have increased to fresh to strong from the southwest. Elsewhere in the Caribbean Sea, the area of fresh to strong trades prevails, as well as the area of 10-foot seas. Not much change to the weather story for Thursday morning, January 18th. We don't have the features drawn out here, but the cold front is weakening and lifting north and stretches to the central Bahamas. And in the Caribbean Sea, similar story with the fresh to strong trade winds producing an area of 12-foot seas just off of northwest Colombia. And the rest of the Atlantic is dominated by a large area of fresh trade winds. And by Friday, January 19th, we're expecting the weather pattern to remain pretty similar across the Atlantic and Caribbean Sea, with a large swath of fresh trade winds due to high pressure tightening the pressure gradient across these regions, and seas still up to 11 feet offshore Colombia. We could see the next possible cold front with the fresh to strong winds in the northwest Gulf entering the region by Friday. That's all I have for this week's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. The next briefing will be Thursday, January 18th at 5 p.m. And you can always get the latest graphics and information at www.hurricanes.gov/marine. Thank you for tuning in.